Happy Saturday, everybody. It is November 13th, 2021. And if you are doing any kind of online advertising and you don't know where your dollars are going or what you're getting back for them, you're going to want to watch this. It's Saturday. I'm Bernie Ollila, and I am here as always with Jill Speight.
Hey.
Jill, me and you just got back from multiple conferences over the last couple of months, right?
God.
A lot of it was in the home services industry.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that we talked to people about were not just one SEO, what we could do for you, but, you ask the question, like, what are you doing online and what are you getting for it, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people have no idea what they're getting for their money online.
No clue. Yeah, it's actually pretty shocking how many people, and you were just going around asking anybody.
Yeah,
and just off the top of their head, they were all saying, I don't know my ROI.
Yeah, I would be like, hey, do you guys know you watched Small Business Saturday last week, I assume, and if you didn't, go check it out. But when you ask people, I was asking them, like, hey, do you know where your dollars are going online? Do you know what kind of lead you're getting or what your return on investment is? And most of the time they were like, no, or they were like, I should. So they knew they should have. So you're guilty out there. You know you should.
Yeah.
And if you're not, we want to talk to you today about some of the things that you can do to start really understanding your dollars online, where they're going, and, how you know what to invest in the future, right?
Yeah, it's really not that hard.
No.
Like, it provides insight into the effectiveness of your marketing, and it's not that hard to understand.
Yeah. Let's take a real life case study for somebody that we talked to yesterday. Remember when we had that call and we said, hey, do you know what you're doing online to measure anything?
Yep.
And she said, yeah, I'm doing call tracking.
Yes.
Okay. So call tracking, number one, that's a great way to do it. But if you're in a home services business, multiple ways people get in touch with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also, it wasn't pulling into their analytics.
No, it was not.
So it was essentially just sitting in CallRail or whatever they were using.
Yep.
And nothing was being done with the data.
No, they weren't looking at it. They just said, yeah, we have multiple phone numbers. And that's great. That's a good way to do is to have the pool of numbers.
Yeah.
But when you bring people to the site, you got to think about, what do I want them to do, right?
Yeah.
If it's specials, you want them to go to a specials page.
Yep.
If it is installs or replacements, you want them to go to that page. And likewise, if you're doing e-commerce, you want someone to go to a product page.
Yep.
If you're a lawyer, you want them to go to the PI case page or the dog bite case, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you set up, okay, what do I want people to do and what result do I want from it?
Exactly. Yeah. And you can get so granular with it too, which
Yeah.
is important. Obviously, because it's going to define real numbers to the success of each and every individual campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what's working for you versus what's not, so we can pour more gasoline on what's working.
Yeah, fire it up.
Yep.
We want to make sure that we know what's going good and what's not.
If you like this content and you're trying to grow your business, follow me at Lance Bachman and Lance Bachman Digital on Facebook. LFG, time to grow.
So I think a good thing to do first is set up, okay, what's the end goal here, right? I want to bring people to the site and I want them to call me. I want them to put a contact form in, or I want them to chat.
Yep.
Typically, right, for
Yep.
home services. So let's just
Exactly.
take that, or even like an attorney. That's the three goals you want, right? And then you got to set that up, and then what? Bring it back and say, okay, what behaviors are going to lead people to do this for me?
Exactly. And then also, it's really going to help steer your marketing campaigns. It's going to give you data like in your hands.
Yeah.
And if you're working with a great agency, they're going to have it set up for you. Or if you work with us, we're going to do all the work for you.
Yeah, we'll do it. You definitely want me to, well, I don't know if you want me to do it for you personally or Jill, but we have people here, and most agencies do that, are going to set all that up for you.
Yeah.
And make sure it tracks literally down to like the button click and what people are
Yes.
doing, so you know what's working and
Yes.
what's not.
Yeah.
So if you're really trying to understand your ROI, step one has to be establish your KPIs, right?
Yep.
And then step number two has to be set up those measurements, right? And then step number three is get the lead. And then if you don't get the lead, retarget people who didn't convert and stay in front of them. But you really have to know what it is you want people to do and what actions are going to drive them there.
Yeah. And it's so important, especially since now everybody's searching on their phones. Like, we're so distracted. We have such small attention spans, and making sure that we're tracking every journey that each person takes, whether they click on a PPC campaign, whether they came in organically, and then they convert on a social ad. We're tracking all of that to understand really where should the ROI go.
Yeah. And like, it's like simple math after that. Like, okay, I pumped $10,000 into my PPC, and let's say I'm an attorney and I signed like 4 cases out of it, and that's going to pay me X amount of dollars down the road. So it worked, and I should put more into it.
Yep, exactly.
And the same thing goes for home services and e-commerce. There's a lot to get really granular, but to keep it high level, because nobody really knows what's going on online, dude, that's really all you got to ask is like, what am I getting? Like, what's coming in
Yeah.
and how much did it cost me?
Yeah.
And most people, when we're talking about this kind of stuff, it sounds like, a different language to them, right?
Yeah.
But, we have a tool here, and I
we
think
do.
it's time to dust off the old
Yes.
Lions logic here and show it again.
Yeah.
One more time for everybody out there who doesn't know what their ROI should look like. You got to keep it simple, because people will literally inundate you with information that means nothing to you. So when someone says to you, like, I need a digital marketing company, my rankings aren't good online, what are you going to say to them?
Well, my first question is, Are the rankings driving conversions? Are they driving you money?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, anybody can drive traffic to your website, but the real question is it converting?
Is it converting? That is the only thing that matters. Who cares about the rankings? You know what I mean? Do you care about the lug nuts on the tires? You just care that you have a tire. You know what I mean? Obviously, you want it to match. There's that stuff. But, all aside, let's dive into Lion's Logic here. Take a look at Dilling. So these guys, obviously, 1,974 leads in the last 90 days.
Oh, my God.
And then it costed $84.92 per lead about.
Wow.
All right, so we had that right here literally in front of us. And that's where you start understanding your ROI. Ask how many leads did I get and how much money did it cost per lead. You know how to do division. You know how to take that and do the math on it. So what was your whole budget? Divide it, and this is what you got back for it. And then you can get into tracking. You should have stuff set up like Service Titan if you're in home services, but you should have those tools in place to say, okay, this is what actually sold and didn't. But see what your leads were and what did it cost you per lead, right?
Yep.
And that is top level. And when you want to get fancy, you can dive into call tracking.
Let's get
and this is where our friend yesterday had her call tracking numbers doing great, didn't know what was going on with this stuff here, which is going to be what was the source of my traffic. How many, then you get into page views, new users, all that, but
where did those calls come from?
Yeah, level 2 is going to be, paid search, direct, organic, social, display. Then you get into the sources, and then we can start beating you up with data after that. But number one, if you don't understand your ROI, what did I get? What did it cost? And then where did it come from, right?
All right, so in closing, make sure that you know your ROI. It's not as difficult as it sounds. Make sure that you've got data in your hands to empower you to make good marketing decisions moving forward for all of your marketing campaigns. If you don't have someone helping you do that, Bernie and I are happy to help you. So reach out to us and we'd love to talk with you.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jill. Everybody, thank you for joining us today. We will see you next weekend on Small Business Saturday.